Hello, I'm Lynette Louise, the Brain Broad, and welcome to another segment of the Virtual Leadership Summit. I'm calling Seeking the Path. I love this summit. I'm having so much fun. I'm meeting some of the most amazing people, but mostly what I'm really doing is pulling from my pocket all the people I know, and am I ever amazed at how many people in my 60 years on earth I've managed to come across. So I'm very excited for today's guest, and so will you be. Before I tell you about him, though, I have to do my little commercial. You'll just have to sit with me through it. I really want you to buy this book that I just put out, The 7 Senses of Leadership, The Brain Broad's Guide to Leadership Sensibilities. And I'm going to tell you every single segment why. Because if you want to lead, you have to understand the foundation of how information goes in and information goes out. If you don't understand how to get over the wall of resistance in your clients, or in your crowd, you're not going to be able to do it. So let me help you with that. It took me forever to learn. All right, so you can find it on Amazon. You can find it on my website, LynetteLouise.com. You can find it on brainbody.net. Go, go, go and buy after you watch this, because we have someone really special. He likes to be told. I didn't say that well at all, so apparently I need to brain broad myself up a little bit. Okay, let's try that again. Jonah White is my guest, and Jonah White has the most remarkable story. And what I'm really excited about here is partly how he likes to be introduced, but also that many of my guests have been grabbing onto a passion of something that they had, like I'm very passionate about brains, and so I've become a brain expert, or very passionate about law. We had a lawyer talking about how he loves wordsmithing every little word. Today we're talking about how to be passionate about freedom and independence by creating an enormous business. So Jonah White believes, I'm going to read this because I want to get it right. He believes that if you want to know where someone is going, simply look where they've been. Because he went from, check this out, seriously, he went from living in a cave to founding a $50 million novelty products business with a simple yet effective mindset. So this is a man you want to listen to, because if ever there was somebody who learned how to live the life he wanted and designed it himself, it's Jonah. Welcome, Jonah. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Lynette.
It's very exciting. Okay, so let's get started. Did you really live in a cave?
Yeah, I did. I've had a few episodes in my life when I lived off the grid growing up. My parents were, my father especially was Native American, and we taught Native American Indian technology to field schools from most of the Chicago area. So from a very young age, I kind of took a leadership role in teaching people about the woods and the plants and the animals and how to track and how to live and how to make shelter. So primitive survival is something that has been in my DNA my whole life. And I went through an episode in my life. We all go through these episodes, but I went through this vulnerable one shortly after I graduated college. And I had dreams of playing in the NFL. And that was going to be my future and my career. Was a professional football player, and I realized I had that come to Jesus moment after college that I'm not going to make it. Right. And only several thousand people my age every year have that exact same experience. And I majored in biology. I went to Missouri State University, and my professor called me up, one of them, my favorite one, Dr. Irwin, and he was all excited. He had a job lined out for me working for the state of Oregon. And I was I grew up in a log cabin with no running water. And my parents and I chinked it and fixed the roof. And we had a well, and, the bucket, we dropped down the bottom of it and got our water. It was like Little House on the Prairie. I grew up right in the middle of Illinois, and right in the middle of the United States, in western Illinois, right between the Mississippi and the Illinois River. And I just had this moment when I almost took a job working for the government, and I felt like this close call. I don't know how to experience I've never been in combat before, but I can only imagine that if you're in combat and that bullet whizzes by your head, and then you kind of flinch after the bullet's already past you and you're out of the danger. It's kind of that feeling of adrenaline that it almost got me. I remember feeling that as I leaned back against this log wall in my parents' house with this old rotary phone to my ear, when I told Dr. Irwin, I'm sorry, I can't take this job. And I was so lost. And when I was growing up and I was learning what I was made of, and I was becoming a man, my father got me onto the concept of Vision Quest. And growing up, I went on several Vision Quests. And my father, after college, told me he thought I should go on a Vision Quest. And I've done that before so many times. And you wind up starving. You wind up being hungry and miserable and tough. And it's awesome to shape you what you are. But I was the point to where I knew what I was. It's just I didn't know what paths in life to take and what not to take and where to go. And I decided, and it was my dad's idea, that I would go move into this cave that was back up this creek behind my parents' log cabin. And this would have been in 1993 and 94. It was 94. So almost the entire year of 1994, I lived in this cave. And it was in this cave that I figured that I wanted to have a novelty company, and I wanted to sell small but intricate things that were hard to copy to people all over the world, that were inexpensive. And I could run this business from my parents' log cabin and not have to move to a city somewhere to support myself and have a family and have the things in life I wanted. So, I guess that's a long version, Lynette, but that's how I came to live in the cave.
No, actually, that was awesome. It was wonderful to travel with you in there. And actually, I've been calling this Leadership Summit Seeking the Path. And so you've just landed us right there. So here you are. You're in a log cabin, not so much a cave at that time. But by the way, that sounded just like my grandma and grandpa's place, and I used to love it. So there you are, and you decide novelties. I have a son, by the way, who is on the spectrum of autism and multiply handicapped with retardation and Tourette's and stuff. And one of his things is he's always trying to do that. He goes, I've got these rocks. I can make rock necklaces. I've got these arrowheads. I can make arrowhead earrings. But then he gets lost in the process. So we're right there. Well, here's the path. You have somebody who's in the place you were in. How did you proceed?
Well, people, it's human nature. I study people, Lynette. I'm a people watcher. And I learn from people. When I go into a room and I'm surrounded by people, I'm in scanning mode and I'm learning. And we all are playing a game of cards with 52 cards in our deck. And some of us have high cards, and some of us have only spades, and some of us, most people, have a well-rounded hand that you can lay down different suits and you can do lots of things. But some people, like an Albert Einstein, who was so smart but couldn't tie his shoes, he couldn't really pull off a decent hand. His hand was loaded with aces, which is very impractical. And when you talk about your son has this creativity, and autistic people do. Very creative. I have ADD. Most very successful people that I know also have ADD.
Yes.
I think ADD is a winning formula for people that kick ass. I'm very glad that I have. And I remember my teachers telling me that I had it, and it was a bad thing. And only later on in life do I realize, when I'm studying people that I wanted to be like, that were doing awesome things, hey, these people are kind of like me. I think they have ADD also. you know,
Right.
and
It's like the alternator in our brain when you have ADD. It keeps the energy up.
yes, it does. You know, the people the people that I have found, Lynette, that do awesome things in life, not good things, but awesome things. They all share one thing, and that is passion. They have incredible passion. Some of them, I myself am not academically smart. Like, I struggled through school. I dreaded math, algebra. I remember, you know, I went to college and I got a diploma because I I, I wasn't going to leave that school without winning and getting a piece of paper from it. I know I'm never going to work for somebody. I know I'm never ever going to show this diploma to somebody and say, will you hire me? I know that's never going to happen. I knew it wouldn't happen at 21 years old, but damn it, I was going to get it, you know? And, you know, it's that passion to do whatever it takes to get that stupid diploma. It's, and, you know, like your son, he has great passion about things, you know? It's the cards that we have in our deck that we're given, however we're given them, that kind of really determine, you know, how we can follow suit and how we can play and what games we can play. Can we play rummy? Can we play go fish? I know there's a lot of games that we really can't play if we're dealt different cards. So I think it's, you know, it's, as far as how I decided to become a person in business with novelty products, I'm deep down, I don't know that I'm a funny guy, but I want people to like me, and I want people to laugh, and I want to be liked. Now, the older I get, the more critical I get, and not so much. You know, the episode of my life when I want to be everybody's friend is long gone. When you get in business and con artists get into you, you know, you get hardened to these things. I've been scammed out of several $1 million, but at, you know, 24 years old, you know, I wanted to make people smile. I wanted to make, you know, and I know this, when people like you, when they laugh at you, they're way more apt to do business with you.
Yes.
And you don't like to do business with the stranger, if you're in the 99% range. So, you know, I felt that something that, you know, was just fun. I wanted, you know, every day to be an adventure. I wanted every day to be fun and exciting. I knew that if I was making novelty products and selling them, I could have accounts all over the world. I could travel the world. I could see the world. I could do business with people in foreign lands. And, you know, everything was just plus, plus, plus. And
So you thought about, I want to highlight something you just said. You thought about how you wanted to live. First of all, how you wanted to approach your business people with joy and fun, but also how you wanted that to play out in the lifestyle it would give you as you ran your business, correct?
yeah, to me, you know, business is your life. Like it or not, your life turns into your business if you're good at it. And you start thinking about your business, and you start surrounding yourself with people with your business. If they're your friends, your wife turns into your business associate, you know. Even here, you know, my kids come pack up orders of pacifiers and things, you know.
Pacifiers. The pacifier people packaging.
Yeah, I make about 300 different items that I sell. So things you wouldn't expect. But the big thing, I touched on it just a little bit, if we could circle back. The big thing, Lynette, is that, you know, I'm a mentor. I have clients all over the world that I mentor. And the typical person feels that it's easier than it turns out to be.
Yes.
The typical person isn't tough. They go into business thinking it's going to be somehow easy. They think that you do less and you get more because you've somehow made a good choice somewhere. And maybe that happens, you know, somewhere in some other realm other than the one I live in. I only know how to be successful by working really, really hard and being diligent and doing my homework. When I say working hard, I don't mean physically. If you give 100%, and most people don't know what 100% actually is, they might know 50, 60%. You know, when I was at a speaking summit, when I met you in San Diego, I had drinks with the James fellow, the Iron Cowboy. You remember him?
Yes, I do. I remember him.
I had drinks with him one night, and that was fascinating. And this guy ran 50 Ironmen in 50 weeks. No, in 50 days.
50 days, amazing.
Consecutively. In 50 states. So logistically, this thing is, and he crushed the world record. The world record was 20. But anyway, to cut to the meat of this story, I asked him one night, physically, what are you capable of doing? You know, you probably will never try to break this record again because you know how horrible it was, the experience. But what are you capable of? And he says, I'm capable of 100. I could do 100 Ironmen in 100 days in 100 different locations across the world. I could do this. And I said to him, the reason why you can do this is not because you're this incredible athlete. Of course you are, and any Ironman is, but your circuitry and your wiring is different than other people's. And you get more out of your body than the average person does, right? He says, well, for sure. And I said to him, see, this person knows something and has done something that I cannot do. I can't do what he did. And I know this. And I can't say this about very many things or very many people. But this case, I can't do what he's doing. He's telling me, he is an expert to me. He is doing something I cannot. And I really pay attention to these people when I'm around them. And I asked him, what does an average human being get from their body with the capabilities that their mind has? And this was awesome because he knows and other people don't. He says the average person that you meet on the street is capable of achieving 40% of what their body is capable of doing. He said, I can achieve 100%. I've made myself give 100% mentally. But the average person, once their ankle starts to hurt, they're done. Or once it becomes 10 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they're done. I mean, they've checked out. They know they don't want any more. They can only give 40% because of the programming, the circuitry. It's kind of like your vehicle. You know, I've got a battle truck out there that had a diesel motor in it. It came with the stock 400 horsepower diesel motor. But with a chip, you put a little tiny chip in there, which is the size of a quarter. You put a chip in there, you get 500 horsepower out of the same motor. What's the difference?
So in a brain, the chip is intention, motivation, and focus, happiness, all of that. I mean, this man really intended on pulling that off. He pushed himself like the story's astronomical, and I'd love to go into it, but we're going to run out of time, and I want to be on you for a second.
Yes.
I have 3 questions that I'm asking, and then we're going to, before we close off, we're going to circle back, and you're going to say what the name of your products are and how people can check that out and all that stuff. I want to make sure you do a plug there. But let's ask those 3 questions. The first question is, what's your definition of leadership?
Leadership is more than the person who goes first. Now, there's several levels of leadership. There's the basic leadership, the guy that says, follow me, and runs over the hill with a rifle in his hand, you know. Okay, that guy really, he's a leader, but he's not a true leader. A true leader is one who takes all this information, and with his experience, people follow this person, and they follow him maybe into battle, maybe into business, maybe into a trade show. Leadership is more than a physical term. It's a mental term to me. And it's more than just the person who goes first or the person who goes over the hill. But he's definitely the one that you follow.
Okay. And what's your definition of success?
Success, well, my definition of success has really very little to do with money. My definition of success is the person who looks into the mirror at themselves and says, God, I am so lucky to be me. And I am so happy to be me. And look at these arms. You know, this isn't Arnold Schwarzenegger, but look at this. This is mine. You know, I'm so lucky, and I get another day on this earth. That's success right there.
I love that. And for a lot of people, they would say $50 million, it's easy to call that success. You don't need money. So I want to point out that when you were standing in the log cabin and you decided your path, you decided a path that included happiness and lifestyle, and it wasn't just money, then money came later, right?
Well, you have to realize that I'd only ever made $10 an hour working for somebody in my life. Everyone was telling me that I would fail, and, you know, of course, they didn't want to see me succeed. And you know, the first night I went out and sold, you know, $400 worth of teeth at a bar in St. Louis. You know, I doubled my net worth. So, you know, I mean, it's really, it's not really a financial term. You know, if you do a good job, that comes later. But some of the most unhappy people I know, Lynette, have the highest net worth. I have friends that have net worths tenfold mine, and maybe 20.
Yeah.
And good for them. But I wouldn't trade places with anyone, not even for a week, would I?
Well, you have a pretty amazing life. It's, I don't know if we'll get a chance to describe it. Okay, so the third question is, I want you to describe the path in a tangible way. So you created Billy Bob's teeth products. Talk about all of that, because there's a path in that, like for my son who's standing there going, I want to do novelty products. I want to do that. At one point, he wanted to get a machine that you punch and people put quarters in. Like, he's always got ideas, but he doesn't know the how to. So what's a little tip you can give on the actual path, and tell about your products?
Well, the biggest ticket to success is winning small victories. People think that, you know, an invention is like a lottery ticket. You know, you scratch it off and, whoa, I won $1 million. Well, you know, I don't play the lottery, but even if I did, that would never be me. I have the worst luck in the world. If anything can go wrong, it'll go wrong, and it'll make something else go wrong for me. I know this going in. I expect every fight to be a dogfight. I expect everything to be as rough as possible. When I started the novelty products company with my best friend, who I didn't invent the Billy Bob teeth. He did. He was a sophomore in dental school. He made a funny looking set of dentures, and I think I got the third pair that he made. And at the time, you know, he was smuggling me into the dental school. I was acting like I was a dental student, and I was making Billy Bob teeth in the lab because I had, like I said, I started the company with $400. I took a Springfield handgun that I had and I sold it at the pawn shop for $400, and we formed the corporation with it. But the way that you turn something into a huge success is not by winning this great battle. It's by these small victories. And you go from one victory to the next, to the next, to the next. And if you make $100 or $1,000 or $1 million, it was something you didn't have before this. And don't say, well, you know, I made 50,000 last week, so I should make 60,000 this week. No, that's the wrong, you know what? Yeah, there's great leaders that think this way, but they're not realistic. They're setting themselves up for a fall. Don't do that. Work really hard, embrace hardship. That's one of my favorite things to talk about, is embracing hardship. And build your business off small victories, and don't think that you know something you don't know. That's a great Greg Reed.
Great one. That's a great one.
That's a great one. I stole it from Greg Reed, and I told him I'm going to knock him off with that one. But you don't know what you don't know. And you know what you're capable of doing. You know how hard you're willing to work, but you don't know how they're going to react to it, how this product is going to be, how, if mothers are going to buy it or teenagers are going to buy it, or what's going to happen. You don't know. So you tiptoe into these things. You don't look for the home run. You look to get on first base, and you focus group. You talk to people. You're being smart, doing the most that you can. That's what giving 100% is. It's not physically, I'm going to buy the most of this product I possibly can because I know this item's going to be great. It's not this at all. It's you going to the bank and talking to all the tellers. Hey, what do you think of this product? I had nothing to do with it, even though you invented it. Someone else brought it to you. What do you think? You know, I think maybe kids would like it. What do you think? Would your kids like this? Would you buy it for them? Is this something you would see in a Walmart or a Kmart or a gas station? You ask people that are your customer base. Whatever your business is, it doesn't matter. It's all relative, you know. You don't know what you don't know, but they do if you talk to enough of them.
Right. It's funny because I'm in the feedback business and I do brain reparation using feedback systems. And yet it was so difficult for me to take feedback when I was young. So I guess I went after my own flaw.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out feedback is exactly how we get the information that we need. So I love your answers. Tell them how to follow you, how to get your products. We're out of time, and I know you have to go back to your busy life.
Yeah, no problem. I fed my bear already this morning. So
he's not kidding. He's not kidding.
Yeah.
Where he lives is Nirvana, and you know, I want to go there really bad.
Yeah, you need to come, Lynette.
Can I bring all my 8 kids, all the 6 special needs ones that I adopted too?
Yeah, I've got a lodge with 39 beds in it, so
it's a date.
Don't you know? There's plenty of room to run around. Matter of fact, I just got some yesterday. I just got some miniature Highland cattle, miniature ones. They're only about 3.5 feet tall, but pretty cute. But the best way to get me is just go to our website, billybobproducts.com. You can find me there. I do mentoring. I do motivational speaking. I do summits. I have a lodge. I'm starting another business with doing barn weddings. I just renovated an 1860s barn. I'm doing the finishing touches on it to start having a wedding venue going there.
Wow.
I have about 1,500 acres here in Illinois, and I try to utilize most of it and do businesses that my family can work with.
That's really exciting. All right, everybody. I can't think of a possible question that you didn't already answer, except that every question brings up another question, and you were so interesting. Maybe we'll get to have you on my other radio show or something.
Right.
You've been
Thank
a wonderful
you, Lynette.
Oh, thank you, Jonah, for being a part of this. This is Jonah White of Billy Bob Products, and I'm going to get over here to the stop broadcast button and say goodbye, everybody.